What is up, everybody? Axel here for AnimeUproar, and as you know, if I'm here, that means we're going to have another Jujutsu Kaisen video. Today, I will be discussing everything about my personal favorite character in Jujutsu Kaisen, Aoi Todo. While there are a ton of interesting and amazing people in this series, I've always just thought that Todo's personality really just helped him shine. He takes all of the best and funniest parts of characters like Gojo and ramps it up to 11, while also being surprisingly mature when he wants to be. When it comes to funny characters, powerful characters, and dudes so ripped you could grate cheese on their abs, Todo really is a living trifecta in Jujutsu Kaisen, so obviously we have to talk about him. Before we do though, if you end up enjoying this video and want to see more Jujutsu Kaisen content on this channel, be sure to leave a like and maybe consider leaving a comment with who you'd like to see me talk about next. It will only take a second, but it is a huge help for the channel. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to AnimeUproar, make this the video that you do by clicking on that bell and selecting all notifications. You can also follow AnimeUproar on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar, or you can follow myself at AxelBeats. Of course, this video will contain Jujutsu Kaisen manga spoilers, so proceed with caution, you have been warned. So there's a few points we need to talk about when it comes to Todo. First of all, who he is, his personality, and how he views the world and people around him, and second, his abilities and role in the story. If I had to describe Todo in one word, it would probably be passionate. He gives his all in every facet of his life, and he wants to see others doing the same. Just on a design standpoint, you might even consider this in terms of his body, with Todo easily being the most muscular character in the series at this point, I guess except for Panda sometimes, but I'm not sure if that really counts in this situation or not, but it could be assumed that he puts a ton of time and effort into himself and his health to ensure that he gets the most out of life. The muscles also act as a way to help him stand out in the series, allowing him to literally feel larger than life when you compare him to any character around him. And all of that ties in perfectly to the core of his character. To Todo, it's important that everyone be passionate about their lives, and that means that you should be exciting and honest. We see this best in his first interactions with both Megumi and Itadori, in which are probably some of my favorite moments in the entire first season. In each case, we see this behemoth of a man getting ready for battle, looking his opponents in the eye, and in the most deadpan and serious way possible asking, "What kind of women do you like?" It is goddamn hilarious. I mean, just look at this panel here. When he first approaches Megumi, he says that he'll decide whether to beat him half to death or not based on his answer. And that might seem a little bit extreme, but this is a question that's very important to Todo. We later find out that when Todo was younger, he would often get in fights with older guys who he felt were mocking him. However, he was simply so much stronger that they weren't any fun to fight against, and he would just become bored. One day after beating up one of these boring older guys, he was approached by Yuki Tsukumo, who asked him the same question and would eventually go on to become his mentor. Todo believes that this question is the ultimate test of a man's character. If you like boring girls, then you probably are boring yourself, and he will hate you for it. For example, Megumi explains he doesn't really have a preference. As long as the girl is compassionate, then they're probably his type. A very wholesome, probably socially correct answer. However, it is admittedly kinda boring. And Todo seems to agree that it's boring, so he immediately clotheslines Megumi, suplexes him, and quite literally drags him through a school and beats him constantly until they're cut off by Toge and Panda. On the other hand, when he asks Itadori what kind of women he likes, and Itadori has the exact same taste in women Todo does, Todo immediately goes into this dreamlike state where he imagines an entire high school life with Itadori, where they became best friends, support each other's love lives, and all of that. Some might say this is psychotic, but I say, probably, yeah. This can initially give a pretty weird view of Todo, honestly. I know at the very least when I first saw him blasting Megumi through a school, I thought he was kind of this berserker who was all about fighting and kind of a musclehead. However, as soon as he meets someone like Itadori, who he actually gets along with, he becomes more well-spoken and is almost philosophical. We especially see this when he takes up the mantle of being Itadori's mentor, best friendo and brother, going on to teach him how to better use his cursed energy and helping him to master the Black Flash. He explains how cursed energy is often seen as this flowing thing from one body part to another, but it doesn't work like that. We don't get angry from our heads, and then it spreads to the rest of our body, and we don't think with our stomachs. We exist as one body and one soul in its entirety. A surprisingly beautiful mental image given by this big, muscly gorilla. Once Itadori actually begins picking up on this mentality that Todo's explaining, Todo explains that there's no more need for talking, and that he will guide and teach Itadori through their fight together and won't be holding back anymore. I think that really sums up how Todo interacts with those around him. He is all or nothing. He's either disgusted with their boringness, or pseudo-adopts them as a brother, immediately becoming attached to them. And while we're on the topic of Todo's big question, I actually got a few friends of the channel together to see what they think to Todo's very philosophical question. Mr. 414, what kind of women are you into?
Women? You asked me this while my fiance's here. So the real ginger, giant boobas, the 2D is obvious for me, Kurumi, so anything like that would be the one.
What's going on, Tyler? Quick question. What kind of women are you into?
Yeah, I was about to do the Todo answer, and I'm like, no, let's answer genuinely. Are you ready? My taste in women is for, really, there is none. It's just, I just like women in general. All women are beautiful. I love all my queens.
The two spookster himself. Got a quick question for you, very important. What kind of women do you like?
Well, just say that. Cowgirls. There you go. That's my answer. I'm into cowgirls. That's all I got.
Evanito,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you so much for calling me in that One Nux video. Returning the favor, what kind of women are you into?
The ones with big asses and long legs.
Is this for a video?
OG, as a very serious, very scientific man, what kind of women do you like?
Only the thickest.
Why here? Why here? What are we doing here?
Dakota, I'm just going to assume that for you, every kind of woman is fine.
Yes, that's fair. Okay, thank you.
Kevin,
Yo.
we have the same taste in women. Please
Yeah.
explain it to the people.
Blue-haired girls with birds.
Alright, I couldn't get a hold of Animac, but it's probably going to be like any woman from Black Clover or My Hero Academia, and then thick MILFs. Well, I guess at least some of them passed. This all-out attitude extends to Todo's other hobbies as well, and speaking of hobbies, he has a pretty interesting one. Todo loves idols and handshake events, and as someone who lived in Japan for a year and had a friend who was very into them and would try to get me to go to them, I gotta say I never really saw the appeal of it. That said, I do know someone that we just talked to who I think could shed some light on the topic, so let's call Dakota back.
Hello, again?
So I do have a very serious and difficult question for you. Can you please explain why people like yourself would be interested in handshake events, idols, or VTubers?
Okay. So I would just say that like handshake events and personal events is something that anime fans and or fans of somebody in general as like would be important because it's a personal connection that you actually get to draw with the actual actor or singer or performer or whatever else. It's really important as a fan of somebody to be able to say things that you think are meaningful to them and then for them to be able to reassure you on your support and that everything that you do means something. It's a nice, heartwarming, wonderful interaction that you get to have with something that you thought was out of reach, but it really is just right there. Honestly, it's a lot less perfect than you think.
Oh, that was weird. Anyways, that more or less sums up Todo as a person, so let's move on to his abilities. He has a few which are shared between many Jujutsu sorcerers. For example, he can make simple domains to disrupt or counter curse techniques, and he is one of the few people that we've seen actually able to use Black Flash, an ability which is essentially like getting into the zone and allows for much stronger attacks than normal. This puts him in a pretty small group along with characters like Nanami, Itadori, Nobara, Mahito, and of course Gojo. I'm sure there are plenty of other sorcerers who have been able to do this as well, but still, this is something that's definitely worth noting. Of course, when you think of Todo, you aren't exactly jumping to either of those abilities. You instead probably think of his signature innate curse technique, Boogie Woogie, which, what a fantastic name. This ability allows Todo to swap his location with another person whenever he claps his hands. This description is actually Todo's greatest strength, as while he might give this explanation to his opponents when he first meets them, this isn't exactly how that works. While Todo is able to swap places with someone else, he can also swap with any object or being in that area, not really being limited to people. Furthermore, he can also swap the location of two other things as well. So for example, in his fight with Itadori against Hanami, He could swap both his location with Hanami, or he could swap Hanami with Itadori. This creates a near limitless and impossible to predict amount of options that allows Todo to completely disorient and overwhelm his opponents. They will never know where the opponent will come from or where they will go to, and they don't even know where they themselves will be sent or what they'll be looking towards when they get there. And when you couple this with the false explanations that Todo can often lead a fight with, as well as Todo's insane strength, speed, and battle experience, it is easy to see how he can confuse and absolutely dominate his enemies. Even the idea of clapping is a little looser than you might expect, as he's able to clap with other people's hands as well as he did with Mahito. It leaves the question of if slapping other parts of his own body could also be included in the ability's definition of clapping as well. Regardless, if you are up to date with the manga though, then you know that he'll likely need to evolve this ability and adapt it to his new situation. Sure, Gojo is a super fun character to watch because he's so cocky and overpowered, but to me, Todo is just so much more interesting. He's funny, brings a lot of passion and energy into the series, and the dynamic that is this big dumb muscle man who loves idols and who is a supportive and philosophical mentor is just a really cool one to see. And when you add to that the fighting style that is easily the most dynamic in the series, it makes him an easy favorite character for me. But what do you guys think of Todo? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, in the spirit of Todo, let me know your taste in women in the comments as well. Or men, or whatever else. Whatever floats your boat, don't worry. If you guys did enjoy this Jujutsu Kaisen video though and want to see more, please leave a like. And if you're new to AnimeUproar, remember to subscribe and ring that bell. By selecting all notifications, you can guarantee that you will not miss any future videos. Of course, you can also follow AnimeUproar on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar, or you can follow myself at AxelBeats.
Is this a video for AnimeUproar?
Yeah, why?
Oh, I just used to edit almost every single video on their channel for like over 2 years, and like maybe I was.
Yeah, appreciate you quitting. It's been great for me.
Yeah, I speaking of which, maybe send a word in for me, like to say, hey, Dakota said something about editing or yada yada yada.
Well, we'll see. I'll talk to him about it.
Yeah, just tell him Dakota said hi, that he misses them, and they can unblock me on Twitter. Be great. Just kind of miss the appearances and shout outs and whatnot.
It's just kind of like weird to talk to your boss about that sort of thing. It's really personal.
Yeah, I know, but like it needs to be my boss first of all. It's like I got you a job. I got you a job, so maybe you could say hey Dakota, said hey, and maybe some work would be nice, or maybe appearances, and just tell him Dakota said hi, or just tell him Dakota said anything. Really.
Hey, I actually gotta go.
So really
thank you so much for your time.
That's fine.
I appreciate it.
Tell him Dakota misses them.
See you, man. Bye. I want to give a big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. A special thank you to the absolute mad lad and disciple of Lord Twigo himself, Alpha Sigma. And of course all of our the 1-tier patrons, the ones who stand above all other clans: Ingrata, Patehefa, Algital, Dr. Courtman, The Toasted Chi, The Spike 8227, Emperor Otaku, Spidey Life Tinel, Tungsten Tarkus, Baked Buddhist, Cody Hebert, and Monkey D. Quilly. And of course I want to thank our pro hero patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, the red-haired Raven, Angel Cruz, Anatoly Kazitsky, Very Gucci, Alicia Akhter, Bonnie Parks, Hinokami and Water, Joanne Garcia, Ted Not Ted, Fat Boy Games, Corey McGowan, Metal Mama, Deadly Saint, Soul Rise, Slice and Dice. If you're enjoying our videos and feel like they're adding some level of value to your life, please consider supporting us over on Patreon. Even $1 gives you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, and will get your name in all of our videos along with these fantastic people. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, stay excellent.
Is this a video for AnimeUproar?
Yeah, why?
Oh, I just used to edit almost every single video on their channel for like over 2 years, and like maybe I was
Yeah, appreciate you quitting. It's been great for me.
Yeah, speaking of which, maybe send a word in for me, like to say, hey, Dakota said something about editing or yada yada yada.
Well, we'll see. I'll talk to him about it.
Yeah, just tell him Dakota said hi, that he misses them, and they can unblock me on Twitter. It'd be great. Just kind of miss the appearances and shout outs and whatnot.
It's just kind of like weird to talk to your boss about that sort of thing. It's really personal.
Yeah,
so
I know, but like it needs to be my boss first. First of all, it's like I got you a
the
job. I got you a job, so maybe you could, say hey Dakota, said hey, and maybe some work would be nice, or maybe appearances, and just tell him Dakota said hi, or just tell him Dakota said anything. Really.
Hey, I actually gotta go. So
really
thank you so much for your time.
That's fine.
I appreciate it.
Tell him Dakota misses them.
See you, man. Bye.